What's up? What's up? What's up, Facebook fam? It is Tuesday, and you know what goes down here on Tuesday. White Chat goes down here on Tuesday. So do me a huge favor. Make sure that you're hitting the share button, letting all my one sexy wives know that Wife Chat is going down. And so, again, I hope you guys are having an amazing Tuesday. I hope you had an amazing start to your week. Thank you guys so much for hopping on. I truly appreciate you. It is Tuesday and Wife Chat is going down. And so, thank you guys for getting on. Please put in the chat where you are joining me from. I would love to hear that. Where you tuning in from. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Make sure that you're hitting the share button, letting all my one sexy wives know that Wife Chat is going down. Make sure that you're hitting the share button. Also, put in the chat where you guys are joining me from. I would love to give you a shout out. Again, this weekend, if you guys follow me on here, you guys know I was in Orlando, Florida. And I will tell you that I had the best time. I was able to pour into some amazing couples this weekend, and I had a great time. So yesterday I kind of spent, my day recovering and taking care of, that's usually my office day anyway. But I spent, I brought my office to my bed because I was a little tired. Hello, hello, hello. Um, anyway, thank you guys so much for joining me. I truly, truly appreciate you guys. Make sure that you put in the chat where you're joining me from. Oh, wow. Thank you. Thank you for Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you. I really do. And so, again, I had the opportunity to pour in Make Love Last marriage retreat this weekend in Florida, and I had an amazing time. And so, again, I just, from bottom of the USA, okay? Thank you so much for joining me from Arizona. I appreciate you. I really do. Thank you so much. And so tonight's topic is coming from actually a husband from LA. He came into my inbox and he just wanted me to talk about difficult situation that makes marriage hurt, when marriage hurts. And so tonight I want to talk to you guys about some of the things that makes marriage hurt, right? And if you've been married for any length of time, I mean, we're two people coming together with two different ideas, backgrounds, hurts, wins, education, all of those different kind of things. And when Gail and I came together at 21 and 22, and we've been married now 33 years, as you guys know, that is a huge growth spurt that we have been through over 33 years. And we have hurt each other in so many different ways. And so today I just want to talk about some of the things that you're going to face in your marriage that hurt, and hopefully give you guys some tools and strategies that can help you navigate through some of those hurts. Now, obviously, there are thousands and thousands of things that your spouse can hurt you, and what can literally hurt someone else, it just bounces off of you and vice versa. So I'm not going to be able to carry cover all the things, but I just want to talk about 6 of them and really how to get through them. And again, thank you guys so much for joining me. Thank you so much for hitting the share button, and thank you so much for keeping Wife Chat going. Thank you so much for the questions. Thank you so much for your comments. I am truly grateful for that. And again, I started Wife Chat 5 years ago when I was in a really bad car accident, and I was recovering and I could not get out of my bed, and I was bored, and I went live answering people's, asking questions, and people started asking me questions. And this has just taken off every single Tuesday. So I'm so grateful for that. And for you people who are joining me on my YouTube channel, hello, 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 and welcome. I truly appreciate you guys being a part of my YouTube channel. and helping it grow over the last year. Literally, my YouTube channel has grown from 49 followers to almost 6,000. So I am grateful to you guys. So let's talk about when marriage hurts, right? When marriage hurts, right? And the first thing that can make you hurt is when you have to have difficult conversations. And I am a strong believer that if you have strong communication with your spouse, you can get through absolutely anything. When I say absolutely anything, you can get through absolutely anything in your marriage. When you are able to communicate your needs, your wants, your desires, your disappointments, your illnesses, your finances, your children, your parents, your stepchildren, whatever that is, if you're able to communicate and listen to understand and not to respond, you can get through absolutely anything. The problem that hurts is when your spouse is not a person that wants to hear what you have to say, and you feel like you are not involved in the conversation, or they discount every time you have something to say. They discount it, or they have the mentality, that they're the leader of the household. If it's a man and you're not supposed to have an opinion, you're not supposed to say nothing. Or if you're a woman who is dominant and always takes over the conversation and don't allow your spouse to talk, then that's when it can become very painful, because you're in a situation where you are looking and trying to have a conversation, a meaningful conversation that means something to you, and you're not able to share it with your spouse. Hey, Tori, how are you, sweetie? Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you. So when difficult conversations have to be heard, those things can be painful in your marriage. And what I'm talking about is when marriage hurts, right? And I don't care who you are. If you say that I've never been hurt in my marriage or whatever, that's because y'all are living on two different planets, because everybody who's ever been married has been hurt by their spouse or have hurt their spouse in some form or fashion. So that's number one. When you have to have difficult conversations and your spouse is not opening to listen, they're always cutting you short. They don't listen, don't value what you have to say. All of those things can be very hurtful. Number two, when you have to walk on eggshells in your own home. Now, this is a difficult one, because a lot of times I get women who say that they have to walk on eggshells or their spouse will explode for the smallest things. You left the dish in the thing, or you broke this, or this didn't get done. So they feel like they're walking on eggshells. And if you have to walk on eggshells in your own home, which should be your safe place, a place for you to rest, a place for you to let your hair down, then that's a problem, because that is a form of abuse. If you're not able to be your full self in your home, that's a problem, and that's a huge red flag, right? Because again, your home should be a place of rest, refuge, and freedom. And if you can't have that in your own home, that is a huge problem. And you need to look at the situation and figure out how you guys can get in a situation where you're on an even playing field, and that you don't feel like you can be your full self. Right? Because I understand, when you're out in the streets and stuff like that, you have to conduct yourself a certain way or whatever. But in your own home, you should not be walking on eggshells. Now, I'm not saying that you need to be this crazy lunatic at home either, but you should be your 100% authentic self, and you should be able to do that in front of your spouse in your own home, right? And if you're in a situation where you're feeling like you're walking on eggshells, and if you say the wrong thing, or if you leave, a dish in the sink, or you leave, your shoes in the wrong place, that it's going to cause a firestorm, that is a form of abuse, right? And I stand for marriage, but I do not stand for abuse, right? And so you need to really look at that situation and figure out how you can get out, right? And if you need some resources or you need to talk, I am here 100%. And you can just go to my website and I offer a free consultation, 15-minute consultation. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm just trying to really help you get to the next level. So you shouldn't have to walk on eggshells in your marriage. Number 3, when you have to say no to your spouse and you've always said yes. And some of us entered in our marriages and we were yes, 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 yes to everything. But now as we have matured and grown and learned some things and been in our marriages, when you say no, that causes a firestorm in your marriage and you feel guilty and you feel, like you let your spouse down. But no is a complete sentence. And if you have to use no to keep your sanity, to keep your health, to keep you intact, no is is good. It's good to say no to the church people. It's good to say no to your children. It's good to say no to your parents. It's good to say no to your spouse sometimes, especially when it's at the detriment of you being well, spirit, mind, and body. It's nothing wrong with that. And if you're dealing with a spouse that has a problem with you saying no, you need to really have a conversation and say, listen, all the time I've always said yes. And finally, when I say no, we got to have this big blowout. Why is that? And it could be that your spouse has taken you for granted. And finally, you have woke up. And when you say no, mean it. And have a reason why you're saying no. This doesn't feel good to me. I'm tired. I don't want to do it anymore. I want to change things. Whatever that looks like for you, say no and mean it and stick to it. And it's okay to say no. Y'all can tweet that. It's okay to say no. And if y'all guys, have I told y'all about this? This is my favorite water. And I don't even get paid to do this or whatever. But I'm telling you, this water, I have been drinking more water in the last 3 weeks since I found hint water than I probably have. My kidneys is probably like, what in the world is going on? But literally, I have been drinking 5 to 6 bottles of hint water a day. Because it's good and it's not even sweet or nothing. It just has a hint of, and I just opened up peach and I just had finished raspberry. But anyway, that's some good water. Seriously, if you have problems drinking water, try some hint water. It'll change how you think. Well, it has for me. Anyway, Number 4, when you have bigger dreams than your spouse will support. This can hurt. This can hurt because your spouse should be your biggest cheerleader. Your spouse should believe in you. Your spouse should support you. And when you have bigger dreams than your spouse will support, it can hurt you tremendously. It really can. It can hurt you tremendously. Hold on. Should a man say no to his wife? If a man can say no to his wife, depending on what he's saying no to. If he's saying no, that I can't execute this or do this or provide this, if he has a valid reason for saying no, I mean, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. But at least know why you're saying no and have a reason, and have a valid reason to say no. Right? If it's to your detriment, you're too tired, you can't focus, you don't have the money or whatever, no is a complete sentence. So, I mean, I'm not just talking to the women. I'm talking about when marriage hurts, and men get hurt just like women get hurt. So, to answer your question, if you have to say no, and it's okay, depending on what it is. But going back, when you have bigger dreams than your spouse will support, this can be very hurtful. This can be very, very hurtful to you, right? Because again, your spouse should be your biggest cheerleader. Now, I will say this. Let me give you a precursor. You need to be able to articulate why you want to do and execute this dream or desire or open that business or whatever. You need to have a game plan. Just don't go to your spouse and say, I want to do this, support me, when you don't even have a path to winning. Right. And I remember when I told Gail that I wanted to start bringing sexy back to the marriage 15 years ago. Tori, can you believe it's been 15 years? It'll be 15 years this January when I execute the next BSB. But anyway, and I told him, I said, God is telling me to start bringing sexy back to the marriage. And he told me that women will come from all over the world and all of these different things. And he has literally executed what he told me. And Gil's like, well, how are you going to get it done? How much is it going to cost? And all of those kind of things. And I said, well, I don't know how much it's going to cost, but I'm going to visit some hotels or whatever. And so once I literally, because my husband's a numbers man, right? Once I had the game plan and I had the numbers and I had the market, you know, that I wanted to market to, which was married women and all of those kind of things. And I told him my idea about the bedroom scene. And I told him all of those things. He could support that, right? But there's been other things that I have came to him and said I wanted to do, but I didn't have no kind of framework. And men literally need to see the framework before they say yes, right? And so when I came to him with other ideas, he was like, well, gee, did you think that out? And I'm like, well, no. How much? I don't know. But it was too many I don't knows for him. And at the time, I was thinking that he did not want to support another dream. But at the end of the day, I had to realize I didn't come to him with enough information for him to support it, and vice versa. He's came to me and he's like, I want to execute this. I want to do this. What do you think? And he has it mapped out so then I can get behind him. But just don't go to your spouse and think that they're going to support something, especially when they need to dump finances into it or support you with the financial part of it, and you don't have it well thought out, right? But it can be hurtful if it could be hurtful if I would have went to him and said, God told me to start bringing sexy back to the marriage, and you know, women are going to come from all over the world and we're going to do this, and he's like, absolutely not. You know, would I have even started it? Would it have been successful for 15 years? Would it have impacted over 6,000 women who have been to bringing sexy back to the marriage? I don't think I would have started it without his support. So the thing is, it can hurt, but when you go to your spouse and you need to have a well thought out plan, what it looks like financially, how much time it's going to take you from your home, your marriage, and all of those different kind of things, because those things matter. Okay. Yeah. Tori, OMG, 15 years, OMG, 15 years. Time is flying by. You know what I mean? It is really crazy, you know, to see what God has done over those 15 years. And I was looking at a precursor. I was looking at all my lists from the very first bringing sexy back to the marriage to the one that I held before, you know, COVID. And I was like, it's been over 6,000, almost 7,000 women who have came to bringing sexy back to the marriage over the last 15 years. And it's been women from all 50 states and from 7 different countries. God is amazing. He really is amazing. Yeah. Sometimes spouses don't see your dreams until they become reality. It's wise to support a dream even if you don't see it through totally. I totally agree with you. But again, you know, dealing with men, and I'm going to say dealing with my husband, he needs to see a game plan. He needs to see a path. He doesn't have to see it from start to finish, but he needs to know that I have put some thoughts, some research into it. And if there's anybody else that is doing what I want to do and all of those different kind of things. But I do agree with you. You should support your spouse as much as possible, because you never know what that dream can turn into for you guys as a couple. So I totally agree with you. Okay. Number 5, when you speak up for yourself and your spouse shuts you down, right? This is a huge one that happens a lot in marriage. When you try to speak up for yourself, especially if you are a person that is laid back and quiet, and you don't not confrontational, and finally you speak up for a certain topic or something that's near and dear to you, and your spouse shuts you down, that is hard and that is hurtful. And I have to admit, I used to do this to Gil all the time because people expect Gil to be a lot like me, right? And if he was a lot like me, we would have killed each other a long time ago, right? Gil is laid back. He don't have a lot to say. I mean, unless he knows you. If he knows you, he will talk your head up. But if he don't know you, he ain't doing a whole bunch of talking and stuff like that. But he means what he says, and he says what he means, right? And so for him, a lot of times I would shut him down and just overtalk him and all of those different kind of things. And I didn't realize that that was hurtful to him, right? Until one day I was like, why are you not saying nothing back? He's like, whatever I say, you're going to shut it down. You're going to overtalk me or whatever. So I just decided I ain't have nothing to say. And then I'm like, but we're supposed to be having a conversation. He's like, well, the conversation is all about you, what you think, how you think it should go. So why should I participate? That was hurtful to me, but I had to take a look at myself and say, you are guilty of this, right? So, when you shut your spouse down and you don't allow them to express themselves, that opens the door for them to go have conversations with somebody who is going to listen to them. Right. And it could be the opposite sex. And remember, I have posted time and time and time. Infidelity does not start in the bedroom. It starts with a conversation. So I'm going to leave it right there. Infidelity does not start in the bedroom. It starts with a conversation. So if you keep shutting your spouse down, somebody else will listen. Okay. Period. Point blank. And number 6 leads to what I just said. When infidelity has broken trust, and we're talking about when marriage hurts, when infidelity has broken trust, right? And I coach people all over the world that have dealt with infidelity, and 82% of marriages will deal with some form of infidelity, right? Whether it's physical or mental, right? Infidelity, and you can get past. There is life after infidelity, but it takes work. And it does not happen overnight. It takes work. It takes people putting things in place to make sure that they don't slip back. It makes sure that the spouse that was hurt, that they put a period behind that. It takes work. But you have to be open and honest about what made you step out your marriage in the first place, right? Because again, the wages of sin is death, and you do not just end up in the bed with somebody. It is a process. You have to work to cheat. You really do. And a lot of times the person who committed adultery wants the person that even if they take them back or, they stay with them, they want them to get over it like a snap of the finger. That's not how it works. Just like it wasn't a snap of the finger and you ended up in that bed, it's not a snap of the finger that person is just going to trust you, forgive you, and move on that day. It just doesn't work like that. It hurts. It hurts for a long time. And especially for women, because when a man cheats on a woman, we think that what did we not do? Are we not pretty enough? Are we not, smart enough? Do we not cook well enough? We go through all of these things, right? We go through all of these things, and 90% of the time, it's not any of those things. It could be like for me, I was kept shutting Gail down, right? It could be a number of things, right? And I have done teachings on my YouTube channel, why men cheat and why women cheat, and they cheat for totally different reasons, right? But again, marriage can be hurtful, but marriage can be amazing. Marriage can be amazing. I have been on both ends of the spectrum. And I will tell you that with the number one thing that I said when I first started this, if you can communicate with your spouse, about all the stuff that I mentioned when I first started this teaching, you can get through absolutely anything. But always remember in doing communication, you want to listen to understand and not always respond. And always remember these three rules. Do I have to say what I'm about to say right now? Is what I'm about to say to my spouse, am I going to have to apologize for later? And is what I'm about to say to my spouse what I want it said back to me? If you can remember those three rules, you can literally get through absolutely anything, right? Should a spouse admit to cheating without being asked? Well, I think you should. And the reason why I think that you should admit about cheating, for the simple fact is that it's hard to, if you have any kind of connection with your spouse, right? It's very hard to look at them every single day, function, and know that you're hiding one of the biggest secrets that you could be hiding, right? And that person deserves that, because in nowadays you could have contracted a venereal disease and passed it on. You could contract COVID. It's so many things that can happen now, with people cheating and withholding that information. And you're playing with people's lives, not only their emotional part of their life, but it could be their physical part of their life. And I think that I think when you tell the truth to your spouse, I think that lifts the weight off of you, and you don't have to live a double life. Because nowadays people are very revengeful, and they will, try to hold that over your head. I have had a situation where I had to, coach a man through, he had committed adultery. He was trying to hide it, but the woman didn't want to give up the relationship. So she was trying to get to his wife and tell him all this kind of stuff. And he was doing all of this stuff. And it just became this big soap opera. Instead of him, I said, you got to go tell your wife the truth. Like I said, the wages of sin is death. So you work to sleep with her. So now you need to work to fix it with your wife and be open and honest. So my thing is absolutely yes. That's my thing. Now, the thing is if you withhold it and she don't find out for another 2 years, that can make her explode even more, right? But again, I'm not in your shoes. I'm not in your situation, and I don't know the dynamics between you and your spouse. So my thing is that it's very hard for me to withhold something from Gail and be open and honest and, let our life flow without knowing that I'm withholding something from him. Right. It's just very hard. But, like I said, everybody's functions different. And some people can live with a lie to the day that they die. I'm just not that chick. I'm just not that chick. So, when I cheated on Gail, I had to tell him. I just flat out had to tell him. Period, point blank. But like I said, that's a personal thing that you would have to deal with. But again, you guys, thank you so much. Hopefully I answered everybody's questions. I appreciate you guys hopping on. I appreciate you guys literally engaging. Make sure that you're hitting the share button for people who can watch the replay of this. I just want to let all my One Sexy wives know that my early bird special for bringing sexy back to the marriage 2022 wives leveling up will be ending on the 30th of this month. So if you want to register, go ahead and register. If COVID pops up, and goes through the roof or whatever, or anything happens, usually I do no refunds, but I will refund your money because I understand the climate that we're living in. So just go ahead and hold your spots. Again, you guys, thank you so much for hopping on. I love you guys to pieces. Join me on my my YouTube channel on Thursdays, because I drop new things every single Thursday on there. I love you guys to pieces. I will see you guys next week.